Welcome back. This is the Daily Brief. Let's cross over to the Lee Funeral Home, where Nyandarua County Governor Francis Kimemi is addressing the media.
To the disaster management team, and also to the wananchi, the youth, particularly the youth and the parents of Jabini, who cooked the food for the teams that were there. The youth who moved to the hills, very steep cliff, very dangerous place, full of elephants and all the animals you can think about. And they were able to carry those bodies and bring them down to where transport was able to be available. So I want to pay that. I came today to join the families, to assure them that we are with them, and also condole them as the governor who was responsible with the county commissioner there and the disaster management team led by Mr. Masai in rescuing those victims. So we are going to set up a special team in the area, because it's an area very close to a very dangerous spot, so that we're able to respond more rapidly and more effectively and more efficiently. I know the response was fantastic. I would say it was very good. If it were not for the weather, we would have been able to recover the bodies on the very first day when the crash was sighted. But the weather became completely impossible. It's raining, it's very chilly, you can't move, the elephants there, the wild animals there, so it was very risky to move at night, but I want to appreciate that what was done has been done. So currently we are also securing the scene to make sure that there is no tampering with the debris. The forensics will be there, the police are there, they slept there with the KWS, making sure that there are no interferences. So we have moved out the civilians, so we have now handed it over to the police to be able to recover the debris and also conduct the investigations that are ongoing. On the scene here, you have seen I've addressed the mourners here, and we've also been, I know they have been taken through the process of identifying them, then they'll be able to see, they have been prepared psychologically, the psycho support has been done. They'll be taken to view the bodies, then identify their relatives, and then from there the police will continue the investigations, tracing from Kitale to Nairobi to the scene of crime. They'll be able to, the forensics will be able to take over and be able to conduct the investigations. All the doctors are here currently performing what is needed to be performed as the mourners go to view the bodies. One of the young victims is a son of one of my fellow persons in the county commissioner from Kitale, the deputy county commissioner in Turkana. So he lost his son there. These are people we have worked with. I'm not saying that the others are not important, but I also wanted to pay special tribute to him. He's here, he's my son. We have worked with him. I brought him up, so I mourn also my son, and I want to thank the media also. I think the way you have handled that incident was very professional. I know when we told you not take the photos of the victims, the media obliged. I think that is the professionalism that we require in this country. I mean, a media that is professional and that is also able to mourn with those who have been bereaved. So I think we're on the spot. As I said, we'll be working with the national government to set up a special team in Jabini, and also we are pleading with the national government to strengthen the response capacities in the counties. The counties are not very well equipped in terms of rapid response when emergencies occur. So we would like to involve the National Operations Center here, so that we also have strong disaster management and emergency response systems in the country, and we want Nyandarua to be a case study. So having come from security, I think we're able to make Nyandarua a case study, and so that we're able to respond immediately that these incidences, we're able to respond as quickly as possible. Thank you very much. Asantini.
As though I had sort of preempted his speech, the governor there says that it is time perhaps that the disaster management unit should actually be devolved to the counties. And of course, remember this happened right at the center of his county, and you could see coming from the multi-agency task force that has been set aside to actually help with the rescue operations. There was a bit of issue in terms of communication time between Nairobi as well as in Jambini, where that particular event happened. Now, and of course, a lot of stories have actually come about with this particular plane crash, including those who are actually a little bit lucky to have survived. Member of Parliament for Saboti is now speaking to us, and he's perhaps giving an encounter. He was supposed to board this particular flight, but changed his mind at the very last minute. Let's listen in.
Yeah. Yes.
You can tell us exactly. We understand that you might have been part of the.
Yes.
But maybe you delayed. You can tell us the story and what happened.
Now, first of all, I want to send a message of condolence to the families who are affected, and I want to request and extend my humble request to the government of the day that it is disheartening to the family that almost 3 days after the occurrence of the air crash, we cannot locate our fellow countrymen. If there is a problem in our technological advancement, we need to know so that we can seek help from elsewhere. But our, aircraft, in 3 days, we are not able to locate our fellow countrymen. I think it is something that we need to talk, and we have requested actually the minister in charge of transport and the other agencies involved in the operations to actually come to Parliament to explain why it took 36 hours to locate people whom the signals could actually indicate where they are. And remember, there is a story of the Uruguay basketball team that once crashed in Andes, that is in Argentina. And the team were in the Greece island for almost 3 months. But something surprisingly, 2 months later, 16 survivors were able to be rescued alive. So it was also prudent that we could have jumped into action so fast, because we could have rescued a number of Kenyans out of that air crash. But because of the slowness of operations, I think it leaves a lot to be desired as a country. Yeah.
Now, I understand you might have been part of the team that was traveling to Nairobi. Maybe
Yes.
you can tell us how that.
Yes, you are right. I was to be part of the team. I was to travel on Tuesday, and probably I could have taken the same aircraft, but my friend came earlier on Sunday, and I took a chopper to Nairobi, and that's the reason why probably I've escaped the accident. But all in all, we say pole to the family, and we hope that the government will do something. I think the best thing is to, first of all, stop the operations of those 16 or 10-seater kind of aircraft, because I think they cannot, stymie weather ya Kenya. So we need to stop the operations of those. That's my humble request to the aviation industry. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Escape indeed. Saboti Member of Parliament, Caleb Amisi, who was actually had been booked to board the FlySax 5Y CAC that crashed on Tuesday. Just thanking God definitely that he is still alive, but at the same time mourning with those who lost their loved ones, as well as asking government to empower the rescue operations team. Coming just a few minutes after, Nyandarua County Governor, that is Francis Kimemia, has asked the government to actually devolve the National Disaster Management Unit. Let me just get a bit of feedback in regards to that and find out what my new panel thinks. I'm now joined by Steve Ogutu as well as Issa Basil Matthews. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You've heard from Caleb Amisi as well as the governor there, and of course they're all saying that we need to improve our disaster management and response time in the country. Your thoughts on that, Steve?
Well, thanks for having me for this interview. And first, I'd like to relay my very heartfelt condolences to the families of the 10 victims of that plane crash. And having said that, I think what the governor has said is very true. Our disaster management unit is a bit weak, and I think there's need for us to, as a country, try and advance, our skills and even our capacity to better address some of these disasters that we come across as a country. Look at what happened. I mean, the crash happened on Tuesday, and still several hours after that crash, there wasn't, very prompt response. And maybe you never know. There's a life that maybe could have been saved, because I know sometimes people don't get to die immediately. And so I think there's need for us to really invest a lot in terms of our disaster management bit as a country.
Okay.
So, this I think is a little bit disturbing, and especially when the rescue team was sent to check on where the plane is. And later on, definitely called off the process, saying I think they are going to do it till morning. Looking at it, you know that when an accident happens, it's not a must that everybody probably is gone. Yeah. Probably some people were alive by the time they were calling it off. Mm-hmm. And it's not surprising that the villagers along Abadia village were also doing well than our rescue team that was sent over there. So this one, I think we should learn a lot. Yeah. And if the training is needed, we should not just talk things because they have happened. Maybe the next clash will come maybe 2025. So that's when we'll also now start talking the same issues. We need to train our people to do their very best as far as rescuing is concerned. Yeah. And I think this other thing of this guy saying that it's a lucky escape, I think it should have been put differently, because he didn't plan anything for himself. He just paid for the ticket, but God did the best for him. So we should actually thank God for what happened. It's not a lucky escape.
Okay. Yes. I'll come back to you, gentlemen, so that we can delve deeper into this. But today, Kiambu politics is likely to play right in front of Deputy President William Ruto, who is currently actually attending an event where he's expected to officiate the opening of the Kikuyu market. We have those pictures coming to us live. A number of members of parliament, Ndindi Nyoro. I've also seen John Kerry there. The area member of parliament, Kimani Ichung'wah, in fact, he goes down in history as the only member of parliament who was elected and opposed during the 2017 elections. Deputy President William Ruto is also there. We're showing you that shortly. There he is. Accompanying him is also area governor, that is Ferdinand Waititu. It would be very interesting to actually try and establish if the deputy governor, Mr. Nyoro, is also there. But you do remember that the two have been having issues. Mr. Nyoro accusing Waititu here that he is running the county as though it is his own private business, and trading accusations to him as well, and further saying that in an occasion that the governor has even threatened the deputy governor and other leaders within the county, including area women representative Muthoni Mushomba. So let's see how that actually, Mushomba. Let's actually see how that plays out today. But maybe your quick comments about what is happening in Kiambu before we go back to disaster management. Some say that this was inevitable because of the characters of both, Ferdinand Waititu and that of Mr. James Nyoro. Steve,
I think it's a very interesting bit. Governor Waititu is a very tough person in terms of how he does his stuff, and I think he has a very unique or streetways kind of leadership type, to an extent that he can work with somebody who thinks like him and maybe behaves like him, but I think that person is not Nyoro, Yeah.
Okay, Martin.
So I think we refer that one to dishonest disengagements, whereby people come together for a common goal and probably trying to fight a common enemy. And that particular time was Kabogo. So these guys went to their boardroom and agreed that Waititu will be the governor and Nyoro will be the deputy governor. And actually they agreed. Probably there was some disagreement that we may not even know that was happening inside the boardroom. But the thing is, when they agreed, and I think from what we hear is that Nyoro being a technocrat, somebody who is actually much educated, and an agriculture engineer or something of sort, was supposed to perform most of the duties in the county. And actually, Waititu was actually they were supposed to be there to implement whatever is being worked on. So, but remember that power is power. So when you get into power, you try to forget those people who actually helped you do some things and probably take over that particular office. And that is what has happened in Kiambu. Okay. So whatever you see, it's something that is very normal, but we still hope that things will work out for both of them.
I'll come back to you, gentlemen. Shukra is on standby, coming to us live from the Lee Funeral Home, where currently friends and family of those who lost their lives aboard the Fly Sachs 5YCAC that crashed on Tuesday are identifying the bodies as well as properties of their loved ones. Shukri, a very good morning to you, and this must also be quite emotionally draining for you, given that you've covered the families since Tuesday, and you're with them now at the Lee Funeral Home. Perhaps take us through what are some of their sentiments now that yesterday, when we spoke, their bodies had not been recovered or rather traced yet. What is going on today, and how is it like there?
Well, the chilly and dull morning quite corresponds with how the families of the passengers aboard the ill-fated Cessna 5Y-CAC light aircraft, which was traveling from Kitale to Nairobi, actually feel. Some of the pictures and some of the family members, you can actually see faces of distraught individuals, many trying to come to terms that they will never see their loved ones again. Now, what I can tell you, what we know at this point in time is that the bodies were actually transported from the crash site at around 8:45 p.m. last evening, and at around 10, they arrived here at the Lee Funeral Home in Nairobi for identification. At the moment, family members are just sitting quietly. As I mentioned earlier, faces of distraught, some still trying to come to terms with what happened on that fateful Wednesday evening. It is still a shock to many. They cannot believe that they will never see their loved ones again. And some of them, we did try to speak to them, though they were not quite willing, understandably, because of such a traumatic and tragic event they witnessed in the last 3 days, say that all they want now is to receive the bodies of their loved ones and start the burial preparations. Some of the victims, one I do understand was of a Muslim faithful. Some of his relatives are saying that they actually want the body right now, and we are in the holy month of Ramadan. They are saying that the only thing remaining is that they are given the body of their loved one and commence with the burial right away. But following proper government procedures is that the official government chemist is actually on site. They came a bit late, and they're still trying to move forward the identification process. Some of the possessions of the passengers were actually brought here and put in evidence bags, which will aid in trying to establish some of the people who are part of that. Now, this is going to be an exercise that will take quite a bit of time, so for the better part of the day, we do expect that we are going to stay here until the government pathologist determines concretely who are the people that to determine rather the identities of the people, so that the family members can probably get closure and commence with the burial plans and funeral arrangements. But at the moment, it's a game of wait and see, trying to see whether the process can actually be hastened and the family members can actually get closure and move on from this tragic event. Earlier on, we spoke with the Nyandarua County Governor, Francis Kimemia, whose core responsibility determining that the crash happened in his county, in the Aberdare Forest, was here, sending his message of condolences to the families, saying that it is quite a trying time for them, but his county government and the national government in general will be there for the family members in this time of need, provide them with what they want. And he was actually saying that part of why it took so long to trace the bodies is that first, it was the bad weather, the terrain, and also being a heavily forested areas, there are quite a a number of wild animals, so it made it very difficult for the search and rescue to try and penetrate the Aberdare forest and reach to the exact location where the light aircraft had actually crashed. But part of it being a multi-agency approach, we saw officers from the Kenya Wildlife Service, the Kenya Forest Service, the National Disaster Management Unit, the Air Wing of the National Police Service, helping in trying to identify or rather trace the exact crash site. So it's an exercise that delayed because of the bad weather, and also on the ground, at least 1,000 youth from Nyandarua County and Njambini area in particular also volunteered to try and maneuver their way inside the forest so that they can at least find the bodies and the exact crash site. At the moment, we're just waiting with the families, waiting for answers, wanting to know what truly transpired. But the government earlier said that the investigations are going to have actually commenced, and they want to know what truly happened from the moment they left Kitale to Nairobi. So it is the air crash investigation unit is going to take quite a bit of time to try and determine the exact cause of the accident. But at the moment, faces of distraught family individuals as expected, many just wanting to receive the bodies of their loved ones so that they can commence with the funeral arrangements. Ian.
Okay, thank you very much, Shukri Owacho. And like I'd mentioned, I'm quite sure that it is also taking a toll on you in terms of the emotional aspect as well, given that you have been covering, you have been with the families since Tuesday when the news that that particular flight had disappeared broke. So we shall keep up to speed with you. A bit of a slow process, Shukri Owacho reports there, because there are due procedures that need to be followed in such circumstances. That was at the Lee Funeral Home. Let's now cross over to Kikuyu, and as you can see, Kiambu's Speaker, Mr. Stephen Ndishu, is actually addressing the crowd there, where Deputy President William Ruto is among the guests expected to open Kikuyu Market. The MC there is area member of Parliament, that is Kimani Ichung'wah. We shall cross over in a bit, but let's talk about maybe the timing in which this particular visit by the Deputy President is coming. Steve, any significance here?
I think, for me, I think this is about...
And just, sorry, let me bring in this, because you do remember that the President sort of even made fun of the Deputy President's visit across the country, and maybe that did not rub off other people the right way, but your thoughts on that?
For me, I think this is about 2022.
Okay.
And, Deputy President has a very strong ambition to take over presidency in 2022. And so for me, what he's trying to do is actually trying to consolidate votes, meeting the people and trying to just understand, pitch the government, Big Four agenda and things like that, and just see, in a way, also trying to market him, to market himself for 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Matthias.
So I think it will be very difficult for us to separate the Deputy President, Honorable Ruto, with the politics of today. Okay. Yeah, because we have the President who is playing a different league, and he is so much now concerned about the issue of corruption in Kenya. And Ruto may not be very keen on that side, because at the end of the day, you even remember the President saying that his last term, when he was elected to be the President, he was advised by the EACC to fire some individuals because of corruption, and they ended up hating him. So I think Ruto will still continue playing a very soft way, and moving from one place to the other. As it was mentioned, Tanga thing is not ending anytime soon. Yeah. Remember that he still have his own objectives of becoming the President of Kenya in 2022. And they probably do it for 5 years, then 2027, God willing, start fighting corruption in this particular country. I think being in Kiambu will also give him some mileage, and I think it's also very important because he knows the Kikuyu factor is also something that he needs in 2022. Yeah. So,
do you think he's likely to address whatever is happening between the governor and the deputy governor?
Most likely he may not do that, but we wouldn't be surprised if we find that the deputy governor may not be in that particular meeting. So probably also to avoid this kind of shouting here and then. Okay. Yes.
And why? Okay, Steve, go before I ask my next
I
question.
think he may go ahead and make remarks in a way that, in a way that he'll seek to unite the two people to work together, the governor and the deputy governor. And having said that, I think I wanted to comment about this aspect of corruption, and the government's stand on, addressing corruption in a very strong way. I see the DPP is doing some good job. And I think what we need to see is, and also seeing actually the president is also committed to address this menace of corruption. You can see he's very tired about it, and he's giving his best his best goodwill to make certain that, corruption ends in Kenya. I think now what we need to see is the DPP or the courts, not just going for those the so-called small fish. They need to start going to the big fish. We've been seeing a lot of arrests, a lot of people arraigned in courts and things like that. I mean, it's a normal narrative. I think what we need to see the DPP doing now is these people need to go to jail.
Sorry, Steve, sorry to interrupt you. A bit of breaking news there. And as you can see at the bottom of your screen, the Court of Appeal has nullified the election of Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua following the decision by his closest competitor, that is Wavinya Ndeti, to actually challenge the decision of the High Court. Now, IEBC has been ordered to conduct a fresh election in that particular county. It would be interesting to see whether the governor will then proceed to the Supreme Court to perhaps challenge that decision. Gentlemen, I can't go to continue the discussion without asking for your immediate reaction to this. Steve?
I think this is a good thing. I mean, it shows that the judiciary can no longer be compromised, and it's now the public confidence in our judiciary. I mean, it's really, really enhanced, and also, democracy, is also in a way enhanced, and I think this is the way to go. When we have issues, political disagreements and things like that, I think we have learned over time that the right thing to do is actually to go the court way and have these things addressed in a very proper way.
Thank you, Steve. Matthews, your take on this. This is a sort of a reprieve as well for Wavinya Ndeti, and of course a loss for Governor Alfred Mutua. Your take?
So on a writer note, Sipita Sindwele.
Yeah.
So I think this is a major victory for Wavinya Ndeti, going by the history of where she has come from. But I still think that Mutua will also be able to appeal on the same. So I think that will happen. And it's very interesting today.
So
because
it is not over yet, definitely.
Yes.
But however, we're waiting for an official statement from the government.
Yeah. Very interesting because you also saw Babu Owino victory today. Yeah. And Babu Owino is also is a product, the first product of the handshake. Yeah. So it'll also be interesting to see if this one happens, how Machakos politics will be played. Now noting that NASA is no longer intact and now Jubilee and ODM still working almost closely together. Yes.
Okay, singing at the top of her voice, definitely this is, good news for Wavinya Ndeti, celebrating the fact that this time around the Court of Appeal seems to be on her side as compared to what happened at the High Court. Let's just listen into a bit of the celebrations happening there with Wavinya Ndeti and her supporters.
Let me see what they're saying. Yeah? It's my first statement. Let to some ama. Some in there. Oh my God.
Songa nyuma kidogo. Songa nyuma kidogo.
Chumba kimko motoni sasa.
Ndio hapo sasa. Hapo.
Njoni muongee, sijaongea. Ngoja. For me, I'd really like to take this opportunity to thank Almighty God because it has come to pass what the Machakos people did. Machakos people voted, Machakos people won, and their victory was taken from them. The people of Machakos, I want to tell you today, your victory has come back to you. Amen. You voted for me, and I won. God has proven himself. The people of Machakos, thank you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. I want to thank you for standing by me and understanding me. Mimi nilinyamaza na nikaingia kwa maombi because I saw how you were hurt by the declaration of the elections. I just want to thank God. And I want to say this victory is for the people of Machakos County. It is not Ravinya's victory, and we thank God for it. You want to talk?
Congratulations. Sema kitu. Sema kitu wakili. Willis. Hala.
Today we came to the Court of Appeal for judgment in the election petition appeal that you had filed in respect to the Machakos gubernatorial elections. In the Court of Appeal, we had a team of lawyers who were involved in this appeal. We were led by our very able senior counsel, Nasir Abdullahi. We had with us Mr. Willis Otieno, who is here, myself, Martin Gitonga. Mheshimiwa Daniel Maanzo was also part of our team. We are very grateful. We've received this judgment. We've accepted it. We've always maintained that indeed those elections are not conducted in accordance with the Constitution. We have been vindicated in that aspect by the Court of Appeal. We wish the people of Machakos County well in the conduct of the re-election. And we hope that the IBC this time will conduct the election in conformity with the Constitution. Thank you.
Very briefly, the court has confirmed that indeed the declaration of results in Machakos was not done in accordance with the Constitution and that the will of the people was subverted when that declaration was made. It is indeed a day for us to celebrate justice. It has been a long journey. We've managed to prove our case, and it's very clear if you read that judgment. It's one of what I can call a very concise, precise judgment that develops jurisprudence on electoral justice in this country. We just now look forward to the next phase of this process, where we hope the IBC will take this case as an opportunity to improve on its processes on how to conduct elections. Those officers who are culpable in terms of undermining the will of the people of Machakos ideally should not even participate in the conduct of the next elections. There should be more transparent process, a process that respects the provisions of the Constitution, so that ultimately the will of the people of Machakos should be achieved and realized in our elections. Thank you.
Yes, I also want to join the Honorable Wavinya and the people of Machakos to thank God for this victory. Last time when we lost at the High Court, we decided to appeal, and the will of God has now been done. I really want to tell the people of Machakos to prepare themselves and make sure that they come out in large numbers at the by-election to exercise their will as is required by the Constitution of Kenya. It is very important that electoral processes be free and fair and not interfered with, so that the people can get the leadership they have chosen, assisted by God, so that there are no cases of stolen elections again in this nation. Thank you very much. May God bless Kenya.
Yes. Huh? Bada? I'm ready for the ground, and the ground is ready for me. The people of Machakos are ready to do what they did the last time. And I'm telling Dr. Alfred Mutua, let us not waste time. Let us go on the ground and square this thing fully. Let us go on the ground and square it fully. But what I want to say, this is the victory of Machakos people. I want to take this opportunity also to thank my lawyers. My lawyers have been there with me. They have stood with me through thick and thin. And my supporters, I want to thank everybody who has been there for me. You know, when this difficult time is when you know who your friends are. And I've come to know, I've really come to know who my friends are. And I believe your lawyer is like your doctor. What I'm asking for IBC, we just need to be fair and do things the way they are supposed to be done. Mimi sina ubaya na mtu. Nilisema yaliondwele sipite. Nilisema yaliondwele sipite, turekebishe, tukienda kwa ground, kama ni Wavinya ameshinda ni Wavinya, kama ni Mutua ni Mutua. Lakini najua kiti ni yangu katika jina la Yesu. Because I won it. Amen. Amen.
Well, that is Wavinya Ndeti, who was in the gubernatorial race of county.
Happening right now outside the Milimani Law Court, so Wavinya Ndeti and her team welcoming the decision by the Court of Appeal to actually nullify what the High Court had decided. And the Court of Appeal has now ordered that the IBC should conduct a fresh election for the gubernatorial position in the county of Machakos. This therefore means that the Court of Appeal has nullified the election of current governor, that is Alfred Mutua, and that is what is happening right now. So we'll be taking a short commercial break shortly as well. But then, of course, you can send in your sentiments. Tell us what you think. Remember that earlier on, the Court of Appeal had also nullified the decision by the High Court to nullify Babu Owino's election as Embakasi East Member of Parliament. So it was also a reprieve for him. So it is a big day for both Wavinya Ndeti as well as Babu Owino. And of course, every time we have such cases within the corridors of justice, the question about the credibility and how elections are conducted by IBC still comes up. What is your thought on that, Steve?
I think what we need to see is going forward, especially in the by-elections for Machakos and other areas, is IBC now need to get serious, and be very transparent, allow the will of the people to prevail, because what we have seen in the court system, elections being nullified and others being upheld because of the evidence presented in the court, points down to the fact that indeed there were some flaws in the IBC. Maybe it might have not been so significant, but that should not be the case either way. So going forward, I think we need to see an IBC that is really committed to transparent election going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Matthews. So I'm still praying that the hardship will not interfere with that process that we were talking about, coming up with proper mechanisms of doing elections in Kenya, because time is now, so that by the time 2022 is coming, we should not hear some of these funny things that we are hearing. So still commenting on Wavinya Ndeti, I think I still like her confidence, the way she handles herself, the way she handles things. And I think the only fear is that if Mutua goes to the Supreme Court, I think it might be upheld. That is my opinion, and I can also predict it here. And if that one doesn't happen, Mutua will still be the next governor of Machakos.
You're very confident. But you've
yes.
had Wavinya here say that the ground is ready for her.
Yeah, being a politician, you must be optimistic. You must give confidence to our people so that they can go and vote in confidence and in faith for you.
This is actually coming at a time when Kalonzo Musyoka sort of even shook the hands of the president. On the other side, Alfred Mutua, a very close ally of the president as well. What does it mean?
This is also a matter of supremacy in Ukabani. It could have played in this kind of nullification. Mutua is coming up very strongly, and as the Kabarida, a potential Kabarida that is. And again, in 2022, we also still have the politics of the presidential thing, being the president.
Sorry, Matthews, Governor Alfred Mutua just about to address the media shortly. Definitely the bigger question is he going to battle it out with Wavinya Ndeti on the ballot, or will it be still corridors of justice kind of battle? Let's listen.
Jipange tu, kuna wasiwasi, sina haraka. Jipange tu pole pole upate vizuri. I know this industry. I know this industry. Wacha eke tripod vizuri. Unataka niimbe ama Kizungu ama Kiswahili? Yote mbili, yeah. We respect the judgment and we respect the Court of Appeal. We are surprised, and I'm very surprised by their finding, because it is very clear they totally misunderstood what really was presented before them. There are issues or facts that they look like they have contradicted themselves. And so we are not worried, because we know that we are validly elected. We know that the people of Machakos are behind us. And we are going to appeal to the Supreme Court. And as a result of our intention to appeal, we continue being on office. That means that it automatically puts a stay to the findings of the Court of Appeal. So we are still in office. And I'll continue being in office and discharging my duties. I want to tell my people that there is nothing to worry about. Nobody did anything wrong during the election period. This is part of the process. And it's part of the process that takes us to a higher place. As you know, my intention on 2022 is to be on the ballot. And I know, by the will of God and the will of the people of Kenya, that I'll be the 5th president of this country. So these are some of those small hurdles you go through so that you can be lifted up to even higher offices and higher services. Because the main job here is to ensure that the people of Kenya, the young people of Kenya, the suffering people of Kenya get proper development and get their rights properly. So that is the status it is. I'm not worried at all. Failure is not an option. This is just one of the hurdles, and we're going to the next stage. Kwa Kiswahili? Okay. Tumeshangazwa sana na mahakama hivi leo, lakini tunasema kwamba ni jambo ambalo limetutatanisha, kwa sababu tunaona ya kwamba hawakuelewa kabisa kesi ilivyokuwa. Tumeona wamesema mambo kadhaa ambayo kweli hayakuwepo, mambo kadhaa ambayo kweli hawakuchangia vizuri, na tukaona ya kwamba kulikuwa na amount of confusion pengine kwa majaji. Lakini tunawapa heshima yao. Na jambo kusema kwamba mimi nimeenda tayari kwa Court of the Supreme Court, tumeweka appeal. Kwa hivyo hiyo inaleta ile into automatic stay. Kwa hivyo mimi ndio bado gavana wa Machakos na nitaendelea kuwa gavana hadi mpaka ule Supreme Court itaweza kuamua, na sisi hatuna wasiwasi wowote. Watu wa Machakos wako nyuma yangu, tunaendelea kufanya kazi na tunaendelea na kazi, kwa sababu mimi mpango wangu ni kuleta maendeleo na hali ya maisha kuwa mema kwa watu wetu. Na kama vile nilivyotangaza mwaka wa 2022, 2022, mimi nitakuwa kwa ballot nikiomba kiti ya urais. Na mimi nafahamu na nasikia kwa roho yangu, kwa sababu ile kazi nataka kuwafanyia wananchi, ya kwamba mimi nitashinda na nitakuwa rais wa 5 wa nchi ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo haya tunayaona hapa ni sehemu, ni ile inaitwa ni zile mbio za kwenda pale mahali Mwenyezi Mungu anataka tuende. Kwa hivyo this is just a small setback and we are going to overcome and we are going to prevail. So mimi sina wasiwasi wowote, niko sawa kabisa, na tunajua kwamba tutashinda kule mbele kwa sababu sisi sheria iko nasi na Mwenyezi Mungu pia yuko pamoja nasi, na pia watu wanajua kwamba ukweli wa mambo ulivyo. Tulipiga kura na ikashindwa. Jambo ambalo limetushangaza ni kwamba hawajasema hata kidogo ya kwamba zile kura zilizopigwa ya kwamba hazikutosha, ama ya kwamba tuliongezewa kura zozote, ama ya kwamba hesabu haikuwa sawa. Hawajasema hiyo hata kidogo. Kwa hivyo haya ni mambo ambayo tunaangalia, tunasema kwamba wanasema kwamba kuna karatasi, kuna nini ambazo sheria tayari za Supreme Court zimeshabadilisha. Kwa hivyo tunaona kwamba pia hawa wamechanganyikiwa kidogo, na ambapo kule mbele uchanganyifu wao utaweza kuonekana kabisa thabiti. Nina wakili wangu Winfred Namu, pengine ana machache ya kusema. Maybe you want to add on to a few things.
My name is Winfred Namu, representing His Excellency the Governor in this appeal along with other senior advocates. As it is, and as my client has stated, we are already moving the Supreme Court as our constitutional rights, because there's a fundamental rights under Article 38 for him to seek to be elected, and if elected, to hold office. Already.
Nothing but a small hurdle is what the governor, Alfred Mutua, is describing the decision by the Court of Appeal to actually the decision by the Court of Appeal to actually nullify his election. That is currently happening also right outside the Milimani Law Courts. Let's cross over to Kikuyu, where I had mentioned Deputy President William Ruto is there to actually officially open the Kikuyu market. Addressing the gathering there is Kiambu County Women Representative Gathoni Wamushomba. Let's listen in.
Nimefanya hiyo kazi Kirinyaga County, nikafanya Murang'a, nikafanya Nairobi, na ninafanya hapa Kiambu. Na mimi nataka kusema hivi, kazi ya rehabilitation inaanza na medical treatment. Mtu akipelekwa rehabilitation na atibiwe na madaktari, hapo ndipo akipona anapatiwa kazi ile governor anapatiana. Kwa hivyo nasema hivi, na sitaogopa kwa sababu hiyo ndio kazi yangu. Hawa watu ambao wanapatiwa kazi na governor, hiyo iko sawa. Lakini wale ambao ni serious addict, wale ambao lazima watoe loko asubuhi, wale ambao hawawezi survive bila kujidunga sindano, lazima tuwapelekee hospitali. Lazima wapelekwe hospitali. Na hivyo nasema kwa unyenyekevu, county government, tafadhali tuache kujipiga kifua. Tukae chini kama viongozi. Tukae tuongee vile tutafanya kazi. Kama yangu ni hiyo ya kupeleka watu hospitali nipewe, na wale wanapatiwa kazi na county governor na county government wapatiwe. Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, nashukuru sana kwa sababu wakati nilikuita ukuje unisaidie kutengeneza a temporary rehabilitation center kule Wangunyu, ulinishikilia sana. Ingawa Mheshimiwa Deputy Rais hukufika, ulinishikilia na nikasikia nimependwa sana. Sasa ningetaka kuomba kwa unyenyekevu, hapa Kiambu hatuna public rehabilitation center. Ningetaka nisaidiwe, county government inipatie shamba nianze kujenga a public rehabilitation center. Na nikipatiwa hiyo shamba nitajenga, kwa sababu nimepatiwa pesa, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, na National Government Affirmative Action Fund. Na hiyo pesa niko nayo. Na wakati Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais nilikuja kwako kwa ofisi, hata wewe uliniahidi nikipata shamba utanipatia milioni yako 5, na hiyo project tutaanza tukiwa pamoja. Kwa hivyo kwa unyenyekevu, mimi sina vita, lakini huwa naongea ukweli, kwa sababu ukweli ni haki na haki ni maisha. Asanteni sana.
Asanteni sana. Sasa mnaona hakuna vita. Gavana akona kazi yake, rehabilitation. Machifu akona kazi yao. Wamushobo ukiweza, sisi sote ni familia moja. Na itini na nagira ke. Nyakire guo. Nikigutire mundu wira ono wa muike gutire mundu uthiara kwa muka kana na kwa murume na wira no wa muike ruto ni andu othe.
Okay, happening right now, our leaders from Kiambu County who've converged in Kikuyu for the official opening of the Kikuyu market. Overseeing this is Deputy President William Ruto. I think we should be taking a short commercial break shortly, but let's finish on discussing the Alfred Mutua scenario. Actually, I understand that we're taking a short commercial break before we come back, but as you can see at the bottom of your screen, news reaching us right now, and of course what we're reacting to is of the fact that the Court of Appeal has nullified the election of Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua. He himself terming it as just, a minor obstacle, so to say, and he is very confident that he will battle it out at the Supreme Court and he will be vindicated. Definitely Ovinya Ndeti has welcomed that particular move as the main challenger in that particular case, where the IEBC has been ordered to actually conduct a fresh poll in that county. We'll be right back.